Right off the bat, Stefon Diggs, we know what happens. Buffalo Bills lose. Stefon Diggs leaves the locker room before the coaches even make it up the tunnel. One of his players runs out and gets him. I don't know, from the parking lot, hallway, or what. Hey, man, you got to come back. That's not the way you want to end this season. Stefon Diggs comes back, which clearly means, you know what, he knows he's really upset and not happy with what happened when you look at the way the game ended. But here's where it goes. You look at Stefon Diggs' message when he was able to tweet it out, and you'll see it. He said, one, want me to be okay with losing? Question mark. Nah. He's like, want me to be okay with the level of our play when it's not up to our standard? Question mark. Nah. It's easy to criticize my reaction more than the result. It's true. It's true. Now, one, could it have been handled better? Of course. I'm always a proponent of there's always a better way to handle things. We're human beings. We're in the flesh. Nobody is perfect. There's one perfect person, and that's God. None of us are perfect. So when you think about Stefon Diggs just, making a little bit of an emotional mistake, it happens. In sports, guys do it all the time. And this is where I go with this. Aaron Rodgers early in the season had a similar outburst, went off on his teammates, said that some of these guys aren't studying. They need to play better, X, Y, and Z. Tom Brady, we've seen him throw down the tablet, get pissed off, tell the guys they're not playing well, saying this team is not this, and these guys don't want to do this, and blah, blah. And we've seen this happen before. We've seen these guys. And so could it be position? Could it be people expect the quarterback to act that way? People expect the quarterback to have that type of winning, wanting to really get the most out of his teammates. Is it that Stefon Diggs is because he's a receiver? And you look at past receiver outbursts, Terrell Owens, him, wanting to leave a team, not happy what's going on. Him and Donovan McNabb getting into it on the sideline. They're making jokes about it later after a touchdown to kind of play up to the fact that there was drama. The fact that he left Minnesota under under similar circumstances. So there's a lot to it when you look at past versus reaction. So past resume versus current reaction, I get it. But if Stefon Diggs, in my opinion, if Josh Allen had been so mad after that game that he just left, teammate brought him back, he stayed in there, and then he took off, I don't really think people would have been saying, oh, here we go, another spoiled athlete did it. Like, nobody would have said that about Josh Allen. Nobody would have called him. They'd be like, man, he really wants to win, man. Like, he's so sick and tired of losing to Joe Burrow, losing to Patrick Mahomes. Like, Josh Allen is a competitor. He wants it. That's where I think if you reverse the roles, and that's Josh Allen looking at Stefon Diggs like, man, come on, man, you're running the wrong routes. What are you doing? Like, we practice this. I know you're a great receiver. Like, Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen are friends. He knows Josh Allen is a great quarterback. We've seen Josh Allen be a great quarterback. That was just the frustration of what are you looking at out there? What's going on? And that happens. There's a difference, in my opinion, to what Stefon Diggs and what DeAndre Hopkins did to Kyler Murray when he's saying, Kyler Murray, like, what are you seeing out there? How come you can't see me? Like, what's going on? There's a big difference there. One, the Cardinal standard this year was not of the Buffalo Bills. And that was true. Like, I'm out of here frustration. Stefon Diggs was more of like, I want to win so bad, man. I'm sick and tired of losing this way. I'm sick and tired of feeling like we're going to be in the Super Bowl and then we don't make it. That's my thoughts on Stefon Diggs. And I think it's improperly, he's been improperly demonized. Like, I think that's just a guy being a competitor. He didn't curse anybody out. He wasn't rude. He just knew, like, I got to get out of here. Like, I cannot believe this happened again. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm with you. There's probably a double standard that's wrong. Like, he should not be ridiculed for this in a vacuum because this is an emotional time. Like, the hopes and dreams, the expectations, they're all on the line. Stefon Diggs has had a pretty long career now, 8 years, and he has not won a Super Bowl, and he's had some really good teams. So I get his frustration. I guess maybe people are bringing in his priors a little too much into this. Like, the Vikings trade saga.
Correct.
Diggs kind of forced himself out of Minnesota. And I kind of get it because he didn't like the offense. Not really sure how he felt about the quarterback. I think that the perception of this for me, Ron, it changes if Diggs becomes disgruntled in Buffalo and forced his way out. What better situation could you have? If this is just an isolated outburst, that's fine. That happens. I just, if he is somehow upset about this to the point where he would want out of Buffalo, then I would look at it a little differently. But if they come back next year, yeah, it's a moment in time. People are vulnerable. That's fine. I just don't think there's any reason for him to think that this is like the end of him in Buffalo. I think this can still work with him and Josh Allen and Sean McDermott.
Yeah, and people forget there's only 2 teams that go to Super Bowl. There's only 2. There's only one Super Bowl winner every year. So the odds of teams even doing what the Buffalo Bills did with like this much success, constantly, down to the last 4, last 8, they're right there, time and time again, and they just can't get over the hump. That's where people get a little nervous too, though. Like, how long can we really sit on this cliff before we fall off? You look at the Buffalo Bills of the past, 4 straight Super Bowls, and they lost. So then it fell off the cliff. Players change, contracts have to be renegotiated, players want out, contracts end, guys retire. Like there's a lot, coaches leave. I think that's the key. And it's so funny when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, granted, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Like, he's a magician the way he finds a way to get back into the win column. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs a bunch. He's competed in the AFC North constantly. He's always kind of right there. His players always play hard for him. They're always gritty. They always have a chance, and they're rebuilding as far as quarterback has been Roethlisberger. If you were to put the Pittsburgh Steelers situation in a lot of these other organizations, they probably would have fired Tomlin. They probably would have fired Tomlin because they're like, man, come on, like you're mediocre. But the owners there, the Rooneys, and I love the Rooneys. I grew up with the Rooneys, and I love their thought process of this is a job. Like, you don't fire the CEO of your company every 4 years because you just have a down tick in the stock market. You're never going to get there. You have to have somebody who's built a culture, continue to build it, and then there's going to be a little bit downtime. Then you build it back up. You look at Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, and now Mike Tomlin. The Steelers aren't a carousel of coaches, whereas a lot of these organizations, I forgot the dollar amount, but it was an astronomical amount of money going to coaches that are no longer coaching this year, who owners are still paying. And I forgot how much it was, but it was a lot. It was like $500 million. It was something ridiculous. Wow. Where he's like, this is the amount of money we're paying coaches that are no longer on staffs, but we're, as owners, you guys are still paying those. It was like $400 million. It was something stupid that they still owe coaches that are no longer on their payroll. And that's,
Zimmer's getting some of that.
Exactly. And that's what what's his name? Roger Goodell was trying to, because he is on behalf of the owners. He was trying to get the owners to understand you can't keep firing these coaches. But I hope that more coaches understand what the Rooneys are up to. I hope they allow these coaches to grow, because you can't just keep firing coaches and think that that's going to be the way to get this done. Like, it's not. You're going to end up maybe having a little bit of success. Like the Vikings, they're going to fall off probably for a little bit, not badly, but I think they're going to come back to the pack. They're going to hit reality. They're going to make player changes, and then they're going to have to regroup. So again, I think when you look at the Buffalo Bills, I don't know what they're thinking or what they're looking for, but they have it. They got Josh Allen. They got Stefon Diggs. They got James Cook, who's going to be a really good running back. So I think that's going to be the key.